You know what? I am sick and tired of people peeing in my pool. What can we do here? Chlorine stuff? No, that doesn't work. Okay, no. What? Is that real? Okay, detects urine. Piranhas. Swift punishment. That's what I need. Yes, this is what I need. Alright, add to cart. Bye.
Hey guys, glad everyone could make it. Even all of you that I didn't invite and don't know, which seems to happen now that I put in a pool. Either way, I want you all to have fun, enjoy the pool, enjoy the food, all that. I've been having some issues, so I got a couple ground rules. Don't bring glass into the pool. Pretty easy, just glass breaks, you step on it, you cut yourself, it's no fun, so don't bring glass in the pool. The next one is kind of a bit more of an issue. Don't pee in my pool. Alright, it's gross, no one likes it, shouldn't even have to say it, but don't pee in my pool. I've added a little deterrent in case someone wants to. Oh, no, that color-changing chlorine stuff? No, see, I tried that, but people actually found that they thought it was like a nice little light show, so it actually encouraged them to do it more. So, no, we're not using that. No, what I put in is a little bit more, let's say, aggressive. So, if you want to see tomorrow, just don't pee in my pool. No, that's just a figure of speech, You want to see tomorrow, eat your broccoli, that kind of thing. But, if you want to see tomorrow, don't pee in my pool. Because if you do, you will regret it.
You want to race me, Puss?
Me? Oh, no, I'm not going to go swimming. I don't feel like it right now. No, I think I'm just going to sit and watch, I think that will be more fun. Let's see how this goes. Oh, God, they're already at it. I knew it. Tried to warn them. Don't pee in my pool. It's gonna be a good one today.
What's up, people? Man, summer is going fast this year. I don't like it at all. I personally feel like it should go as slow as a Monday afternoon, I don't know what's going on, but it just needs to slow its roll a little bit. But that does actually remind me of something I wanted to ask you, and I want you to be completely honest here. Why is it cool for guys who have kids to have a dad bod, but if I do it, I'm a tub of shit? Anyways, with it being summer and all, I thought we'd take a look at Piranha, the 1978 version, not any of these ones. Piranha came out on August 3rd, 1978 and runs for 1 hour and 34 minutes. It was directed by Joe Dante, and this guy has directed some pretty good movies like Gremlins 1 and 2, Matinee, Small Soldiers, and The Burbs. Burbs is really good if you haven't seen it. Plus, this was the third movie he directed. The story is that some genetically modified piranhas get accidentally released into a city's river, and it's summertime, so you can see how that would be a problem. What's that? Jaws? What about Jaws? You think the poster looks like Jaws? Not really, man. I don't see it. I think it looks completely original to me. Alright, well, if it's been at least a half hour since you last ate, let's get into the water and check out Piranha.
People eat fish, Grogan. Fish don't eat people.
We start off seeing this sign, but I think it's more of a suggestion than anything. Then we see this couple who are hiking and they decide to go inside even though...
I wonder why this place wasn't on your map.
Maybe it's supposed to be a secret.
Once inside, they find a pool and decide to take a dip. And just like in The Chill Factor, if you're eagle-eyed here, you can spot some accidental nudity that wasn't supposed to be in there. Again, gotta think like a teen boy. Once in the water, this happens.
Kind of funny. What? Well, you bit me. I can't believe you actually bit me.
They ignore it and decide to race, and... so he's dead, and she doesn't really fare much better. But we do see that somebody is still living there. Then we get the title card, and I actually like it. It's simple, but I think it's cool. And it transitions nicely to seeing this chick playing this Jaws arcade game. This is Maggie, and she's played by Heather Menzies-Urich. think it's Uric. And she actually played Louisa Von Trapp in the Sound of Music movie. Man, I fucking hate that movie. We find out that she finds people for a living.
Found the bigamist, didn't I? And the bad check lady, Mrs. Pilgrim? And I found Mo Schneider.
Then we see this guy, and don't get me wrong, I like his style and all, but there's no way he's wearing those shoes walking through the woods. He's Jack, and he's played by Keenan Wynn. And he was in a ton of stuff, but you probably recognize him from Laser Blast.
Everything is hush-hush. Operation Sandust. Hush-hush.
And the guy he's talking to is Paul, and he's played by Bradford Dillman. He was in The Swarm and The Enforcer. We see why Jack is visiting.
Scotch, gin, bourbon, tequila.
A little bit of a lush, I guess. Also, both of them live in the woods. Cut back to Maggie driving her rental Jeep that happens to have a cracked windshield. That's cause for a bad Yelp review right there. And the Jeep overheats. It's right by Paul's house, so she goes there.
We find missing people.
Did my ex-wife send you?
And she asks if he's seen the kids from the beginning.
If they drowned, they'd be swept down at the dam, you see. So you're starting at the wrong end.
He tells her about what's nearby, including a shut-down army facility, then...
Come on, let's go.
Go where?
You're taking me up there.
Oh, no, I'm not.
So how is he divorced? I mean, a lot of women love a man that they can just push around to do whatever they want. So they too break into the facility and notice his canteen.
It's not water.
So he's what we would call a functional alcoholic. After searching outside and finding the chick's necklace from the beginning, they head inside, where they see some weird experiments have been taking place, and we see this thing. Then they find this thing and decide to leave. On the way out, they find the packs from the couples she's been looking for, so they decide to drain the pool, and when she does...
What are you doing?
And imagine being this guy who's just trying to work, you know? This pair comes in and starts beating you. Mondays, am I right? We do see the creature again, but it's the last time for the whole movie. It's not bad, but they never actually touch on it, so it's kind of weird to put in the movie. Outside, they notice...
What is it?
Water's salty.
And we find out...
Where does it drain to?
It was a fish hatchery before the army took it over. Probably drains underground into the river.
The guy steals the Jeep, but ends up crashing because of a probable concussion from the beating they gave him. They bring him back to Paul's place, and he says...
Razor teeth.
What's razor teeth?
You drained the pond.
Yes, we found...
You let them out!
He also adds in...
They breed like flies. There'll be no way to stop them.
By the way, this is Dr. Hoke, and he's played by Kevin McCarthy. Now, he's been in a lot of stuff, but the one I always think of is UHF. Now, I'll leave a link in the description for that if you want to check it out for free, because that's just a great movie. We get a little backstory from Paul.
Where did you live?
In town. I worked in a smelting operation downriver.
We also find out he has a daughter. The next day, they decide they need to make it into town to talk to the police, and luckily Paul made a raft for his daughter. But they never actually used it because she's afraid of the river. We also find out where his daughter is.
Where's your daughter now?
Summer camp, other side of the dam.
Cut to his daughter at camp, and this counselor is trying to explain to her that there's nothing to be afraid of in the river.
There's just a few little fish in here. They're not at all interested in little girls' fingers and toes.
She's played by Melody Thomas Scott, and she's been in over 3,100 episodes of The Young and the Restless since 1979, and she's still going. Damn. We also meet Mr. Dumont. He runs the camp, and he kind of reminds me of what I think I would be like if I ran a kids' camp.
She's doing really well in handicrafts.
Handicrafts. Handicrafts don't take any nerve.
Cut back to Jack, fishing, drinking, and telling his dog a story about a different dog he had.
You didn't like the story? You want me to tell you the story? Maybe you didn't get the point.
And then... on the raft, the doctor catches them up on what Maggie did.
The water is filled with carnivorous fish, piranha. You let them in when you drained the pond at the test site.
Then they float by Jack's place and find his body. Man, that's a cute dog. I want to wrestle with it. Then we see this father and son and their fishing net, and his arm are stuck on something, and it doesn't end so well for the dad. But the kid lives. Back on the raft, we find out who was responsible for the jacked up piranha.
The government paid you?
They pay a lot better than they do in private research.
and why they did it.
Operation Razor Teeth, to destroy the river systems of the North Vietnamese.
As they are talking, Paul realizes the river goes right into the summer camp, so cut to the camp, and they do a decent job of making you wonder if a kid is gonna get bit here. I mean, they keep showing them kicking their feet from above and then under the water. It's, builds it up pretty nicely. We find out the doctor kept the experiments going after the project was closed down. I mean, obviously. And as they're going along, they come across the kid whose dad got eaten, and the doctor sees they won't make it in time. So the doc does save the kid, but it's a trade for his life. They keep floating down the river, but the doc's blood gets all over the raft's lashing, and the piranhas start to have a little snack. So they try ditching the dock, but it doesn't really help, and the raft starts to come apart log by log. But luckily, they make it to shore. Paul runs ahead to make sure they don't open up the dam, and makes it just in time. They get a hold of the military, and these two show up, and they check for themselves. They have a plan in mind.
And we brought heavy doses of Rotanon 235.
Well, sometimes it's necessary to destroy in order to save.
But Paul catches on that this wasn't a new plan.
Wait a minute, who are you trying to kid? You must have known all along that these things were here. You wouldn't have brought all this stuff. Okay.
And the lady makes a weird offer.
What the Colonel really means is that he'd like you to join us. Become one of our team, as it were.
Then Paul tries to show them a workaround for the piranhas.
And you'll see it empties into the river on the other side of the dam.
The piranha have got a way to get around the obstacle.
And Maggie tries to convince the lady scientist. I mean, ladies can't be scientists. So obviously this movie's part fantasy as well. But it turns out she already knew about the experiments.
You're covering up. There are priorities, and some things are more important than a few people's lives.
The Colonel makes it clear to Paul what's going on.
The piranha do not exist. I think for your own protection, we'd better secure your tent for the night.
To get out, they distract the guard.
Come on to him.
Or possibly.
What if he's gay?
And I'll distract him.
But ultimately, we get what sure looks like a body double distracting him. They take a jeep, and Paul calls the camp, but it doesn't do any good.
Sober up, Grogan, and fly right.
Along the way, they get arrested, and the Colonel tells the cops to keep them detained. Then the Colonel talks to this guy, Buck, who is in the process of opening up a new water park, which the Colonel just happens to be an investor in. By the way, he's played by Dick Miller. He was in a ton of stuff like Chopping Mall, Gremlins, and Night of the Creeps. Cut to these camp counselors talking about swimming, but this one says,
What's the matter? I don't know. Something's wrong.
But it doesn't really go anywhere, so moving on. Maggie borrows a plan from one of the guys she's tracked down, and it goes a little something like this.
Well, take his pants off then.
Oops, oh no, sorry, wrong part there. So it goes a little something like this. Then we see the new water park. They probably missed their old water park. Buck gives a speech, but the part I want to focus on is this chick hurdling the fence like it's no big deal. I mean, my hip hurts just watching that. It's quite impressive. Back at the camp, the kids get ready for a water race. Also, worst good-looking kid contest ever. Great Uggo Kid contest, though. Paul also remembers.
I just remembered it was salt water
What was?
in the pond at the test site.
And realizes what that means.
A piranha are freshwater fish. Hope must have developed a strain that can live both in fresh and salt.
The daughter gets told she has to participate in the swim race, so she hides under a canoe instead. We also get this random scene from the Dukes of Hazzard. And then the fun starts. And it was a bloodbath. No, I mean almost quite literally. I mean, so there's blood in the water and they're floating in it. That makes a bloodbath. And I will say, it is actually a good idea how they shot the attack scenes. I mean, like, they're pretty quick showing the piranhas, but it works. And I mean, I'm sure they did that so you couldn't really tell it wasn't actually happening. Or, I mean, I guess, should I say that it makes it more believable for the movie? You know, like it's, you think it's real, I guess? Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully. The daughter gets an inflatable raft and saves the counselors. Well, the blonde anyways. The brunette, she dead. And they do show her getting dragged down. I mean, I guess the piranhas can do that. But it is a neat shot. Paul and Maggie show up, and Maggie tries to call the water park to warn them, but Buck doesn't listen to her.
Listen to me! Look, please, before it's...
Thank you.
This guy's lucky he didn't lose those thumbs here. Also, we see that Dumont is still alive. Jackass. They leave the daughter and head to the water park where everyone is having a great time. Well, except for this guy. See, it's funny because he is a dad bod too. And the Colonel and Lady Scientist show up. I mean, I still can't. Lady scientist, that still cracks me up. Whew. Anyways, they get on a boat to take a ride. These teens go water skiing and pass by these guys doing some scuba diving. One of them gets tangled up and then... the guy skiing sees this, which looks awesome. I mean, you know, as far as dead bodies floating in the water goes. And then what follows is actually pretty funny to me. So she tries even harder to ditch him. And imagine being this guy where you just saw a bloody corpse in the water and you're like, no, you normally don't even want to fall on water skis, and now it's extra. Like, it's a whole nother level of not wanting to fall. They do finally stop, but that isn't exactly what he wants either. Then things really jump up a notch. Everyone is still stone cold chilling at the park when... So what do you do if you're on the beach and you see that? So, I mean, if you're me, you hit the parking lot ASAP and then watch the news later. But if you're this guy, you run right in. Fucking show off. His buck is telling the newspapers that the rumors about the piranhas are false.
I thought I told you not even to say that word.
But the piranhas.
What about the goddamn piranhas?
They're eating the guests, sir.
And again, the way they shot the piranhas attacking is actually well done. With how quick it is and the blood in the water, it's enough so you know what's happening, but not enough to pick it apart. That's a smart move. We see that the Colonel is a man of the people.
Damn it, get off!
But he gets what's coming to him in the end. Paul and Maggie show up and steal a boat and head upstream to an old smelting factory to release the waste. And...
It'll kill the fish!
It'll kill anything! We'll pollute the bastards to death!
But when they get there, the area they need is underwater, so Paul volunteers to go release it, after tying a rope to himself.
Up to 100. Then whether I'm up to the surface or not, you hit that throttle and gun this sucker out of here.
And I actually really like this underwater shot. You know, I mean, like, it's really peaceful. Well, for a little bit anyways. But I also love the water. Of course, when it doesn't have piranhas in it. He finally gets where he needs to be, but the thing won't turn. Oh, and... somehow he's still able to open the valve, and Maggie guns it. But Paul doesn't make it. Ah, just kidding. Man, that would be lame, wouldn't it? We get to see the aftermath of the attacks, and it isn't good. We also see that Paul appears to be catatonic now. Then the lady scientist, still gets me, she covers her ass by saying,
Personally going to head a full-scale investigation into this incident to make absolutely certain that nothing like this could possibly happen again.
And when asked about the chance of any of the piranhas reaching the ocean, she says,
Oh, none at all. Of course, if any of them did get through, there's no way they could survive the salt water. There's nothing left to fear.
So we're made to believe that they are going to make it to the ocean. Well, I guess we'll find out in the sequel, Piranha 2, The Spawning. That's a real thing that happened. Fun facts, anyone? So the game Maggie was playing at the beginning was actually called Shark Jaws. It was an unlicensed tie-in to the Jaws movie. Nolan Bushnell, who was the head of Atari, tried to license the Jaws name for the game, but Universal Pictures didn't agree. So he changed the name to Shark Jaws, but he put the word shark in really tiny print and Jaws in huge letters, so that's what people would see. So he also created the game under a different subsidiary, Horror Games, to protect Atari from any possible lawsuits. He knew what he was doing. The extras were all paid $5 a day and given a box lunch. I love water parks. I think they're great. The piranhas were actually done by attaching rubber puppet fish to sticks. Turned out pretty good, I think. The makeup effects were done by a 17-year-old Rob Boughton, I'm not sure which. He's also done makeup for The Fog, Maniac, and The Thing, among others. Piranha literally translates into toothfish. They live in South America, and there are around 30 different species. So, are you watching it?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun little summer movie. The plot is solid, the attack scenes are well done, and the acting is great. I do have to say, though, that I'm not jealous of Maggie now. I mean, you remember the Jeep from earlier? Her boss paid for that. I hope they bought the extra insurance. See, those are the real-life things you forget about in situations like this. Yeah, you're happy to be alive and all, but how much is that Jeep gonna cost? I mean, is she still gonna have a job afterwards? These are all fair questions. I will put a link in the description where you can check it out for free, at least when I recorded this. Oh, and you should also check out the last couple of reviews I did, Creepazoids and Slime City. Alright, well, enjoy the sunshine, and I'll check you later.